Okay, so we're going to finish this morning with looking at the conditions that we need to enter into the meditation challenge. So, so a lot of our aspirations, like our aspirations in New Year to meditate daily or whatever it is, they fall flat because we don't have the conditions to sustain them. That's what happens. Everything arises on dependence upon conditions, including daily meditation practice. So we're going to just have a little look at those conditions. This is from the mind training tradition of Buddhism, which is very practical about what you need to do. So the first condition that you need is to contact your motivation. So any process starts with us wanting to do something. So the interest, you've all got your interests in meditation, and then deciding to do it. So interest and determination. You know what you want to do and you're determined to do it. And for that you need your energy behind your motivation, your interest. You need to gather your energies behind it. So you really need to feel that this is what you really want to do. So I thought I'd just ask you, because I haven't had a little plenary of the exercise that we did before the tea break about contacting that state of being. What came up for you? Did you feel like, something came up where you really felt into what you could become? Yeah. Does anyone want to share that? Yeah.
Hi. Thank you for the teaching. I actually was speaking with Gemma about it during that little break we had, and I went to a place in my head where just a few days ago I was in a museum, and in that space, how easy it was to access the presence amongst the sculptures and the paintings and all the work that kind of reaches through to you through all these different times and eras. And then I wondered how I could move through the rest of the world with that same presence, because in those walls in the choir with few people around and everything's so clean and so curated, it's so easy to fall into that presence. But out in the world, when I'm on the same bus route or I'm in my own home or I'm amongst people I'm used to being amongst, it's very easy to sort of numb that and put a filter up and not approach it with that same wonder or joy.
Yeah.
So it sort of took me to that place and made me wonder if I can try to move through my daily spaces with the same curiosity as going through like a museum.
Yeah. So there you've got it. You've got then an interest, and even by asking the question, how could I transition that state of mind from there to here? In a way, that is the motivation. Even by asking that question, you're opened up into that arena. So I think in that state, like what would it be like to see everyone as a work of art? Interestingly, Sangha actually asked that same question. He said that actually that's what metta is. It's you delight in the being of others because you see them as like a work of art. He said only it's more exciting because they talk back. Exciting, sometimes not so exciting. Anyway, but even by asking that question, you've contacted that. And what you can do is you can bring yourself, before the meditations that you do, you can contact that motivation by bringing yourself back to that same space. So you can even imagine yourself in that art gallery, if that helps you access that state of openness and curiosity. Yeah, so that's really good. So that's a way to contact that, is to remember that time. Did anyone else have anything? Yeah?
Well, I didn't feel immediately different today, but definitely in the few months I've been coming here, my meditation practice has changed, so I don't see any reason why it wouldn't keep changing if I keep at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can sometimes see that from beginning of one meditation to the end, and that process, it does work. So it's good. So, contacting that confidence But it will work. Yeah. Anyone else had anything coming up from that exercise?
Just thinking about an experience that the Buddha had himself in his life when he was about 4 years old, and so he sat under this cherry tree, and for the first time in his life he felt like such an incredible feeling of bliss and connection with all things, and it was that experience that he had as a very young boy which then motivated him and gave him it planted those seeds inside himself to then grow into and then attain enlightenment later on in his life. So I was trying to use that experience, apply that experience of the Buddha as a young boy who felt such a great feeling of joy and connectedness with the earth, and try to think of the times that I felt that and how I can apply that to my life now, and I can apply that to moving forward and where I want to be, and I can look back and I can reflect on that experience and that feeling, and then I can use that to further my attainment of this path.
So that's contacting your force of motivation, and you're right, that's exactly what the Buddha did before he got enlightened. He recollected a time when he felt that whole state of being, that stillness, that energy, that openness, the freedom of mind. And then he remembered that, he took his mind back to that, and that motivated him to then do the mindfulness of breathing and awaken to the nature of reality. It's all here. Yeah. What was that? Yeah.
So for me, that's what came up for me in childhood experience. A memory or something. Kind of just trying to think about how to explain to them. So I think I was in primary school age, and we did a Christmas play in a women's prison. And what I remember is being very scared of these very rough-looking women, and the kind of appreciation and love and almost being unable to leave and going home to my mother, and she remembers this, and telling her about as sort of saying in German, which goes something like, "The love you give returns to your own heart," which is obviously right into the book, and I really understood it. It was so exciting, and I think for me it's sort of something about the person I could be or I've lost. So that I remember what it felt like.
So the love you give returns to your own heart. That's really lovely, isn't it, for a child as well? How remarkable. So there's the love there, there's contacting. You felt what it felt like to contact that love, even in quite a threatening situation, or potentially threatening situation. And actually there is a responsiveness there. Yeah. That's beautiful. So all these experiences, we've all got them. When we felt that openness, clarity, love, that responsiveness. So just recollect that before you meditate, or even recollect it during the day when you do have a state of openness. You're making a cup of tea, or you're on the bus, or whatever it is, where you've got those little sort of moments when you don't have anything else to do. Going for a pee. Am I allowed to say that? But it is a little space, isn't it, where you don't have to do anything else. Recollect your purpose. So you just recollect those states of mind, recollect what it's like, and particularly before meditation, actually. So recollecting your motivation is very important. But of course it's very easy to forget that, which is why we need the second force, which is the force of familiarization. You need to remind yourself to do that. So the force of familiarization is that you need to remind yourself of what you're doing. So, you've heard about reminders on the phone. You can set up little reminders on your phone to be mindful, or to recollect your purpose, to a reminder, you set a time to meditate every day, and you remind yourself that's what you're doing at that time. I really do recommend for this challenge that you do meditate at the same time every day. Just decide when you're going to do that, because if you leave the decision vague, there's so many other things one could do, and life just tends to take over. So there's little reminders. You could even wear like a special piece of jewellery or something like that to remind you. It doesn't have to be particularly in its own nature spiritual, if you see what I mean. You could, but the best way to remind yourself of what you're doing is just to come to all the events available to you at the Brixton Buddhist Community as part of this challenge. That's the best reminder of all, is other people. So just keep coming to everything. Don't make decisions. Honestly, if you try and make a decision about, do I feel like doing anything? I don't feel like doing anything, really. I'm quite a lazy person. So if I say to myself, do I feel like meditating this morning, or do I feel like going to the Buddhist centre? It's, I think, well, no, I feel like watching the TV, but it's not good for me, So I think, just do it. Just plan to come and come. That is the best reminder of all. So keep reminding yourself. But you might want other little reminders, like a picture that reminds you of that state of mind. So if you're in a gallery or something, a picture, you might have bought a postcard or something from that time. Just stick it on your mirror. Wearing special bits of jewellery, putting a different password on your computer. I know people who've done that. So like your password could be something like meditation. Except now we all know your password. But something that just keeps reminding you, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And the Brixton Buddhist Community will also remind you themselves. If you sign up, I'm hoping you've all signed up to the challenge, you'll get daily reminders on your email. So for once, your emails will be quite exciting and associated with your higher being, if you see what I mean. So do look at the daily emails that will be coming through to you. So that's a force of familiarisation. There's also the force of what's called destruction, which is anticipating what's going to get in your way and getting them on board. So, you've decided that you're going to meditate at 7 o'clock every morning, and then you've got a big work due the night before, or a big sort of social event of some kind. So that is going to make it difficult to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you might decide, okay, on that day you're going to get up at 8 o'clock or whatever it is. Or it might be that you decide, right, I'm not going to drink any alcohol that night, because I know if I drink alcohol then I'm going to be really out of it the next morning. So you just anticipate the difficulties, or your kids are going to wake you up. So sometimes, like, I've known people who say, right, I'm going to do this challenge, and you have to get the kids and anyone you live with, your housemates, your partner, whoever it is, on board, saying, will you help me with this? So so anticipating difficulties and making sure that you set up good conditions for yourself to do the challenge. And the other force that I was going to mention is the force of what's called aspirational prayer, which is it's kind of the most complex, really. Basically, it's to do with accessing your motivation. But just to keep in mind your motivation, you might want to make an aspirational prayer, you could call it, or you could put it something that keeps you in the context of your higher inspiration, or an attitude of wonder and openness to who you can be. It's sort of an allowance that your state of mind can be much more than what it is at present. And that is embodied by a certain prayer, so words, ritual words, or it could be embodied by a figure, like the figure of the Buddha, or someone you're trying to move towards. So the reason we have a Buddha on the shrine is because it's a kind of physical embodied reminder of a state of being that we're trying to move towards. It's a very peaceful figure, very grounded, very loving sort of face, So that contacts us with the state of being that we're trying to move towards. So basically what I'm saying in a really long-winded way is that it's okay to pray. So what our teacher Sangha said is he said if you want to pray, work out the metaphysics later. It doesn't really matter who you're praying to or what the forces of the universe really are. or however you envisage that. It could even be very simple. I had a prayer the other day, someone said about, they had the 2-word prayer which was show me. It's quite sweet really, isn't it? Just show me. I don't know who's showing who what, but it's your own higher state of being or someone else. But it's, in a way, what you've got is a vision of an opened something that you're trying to move towards. So if a little prayer comes up at the end of meditation, or at the beginning of meditation, or during the day, just allow that to be said. Don't worry about it too much. It doesn't have to. You're not being signed up to any particular religion or anything like that. But there is an aspect of our being that just wants to be open to something more than we are now. And so you're creating that openness. If you are a Buddhist and you've been coming along for a while, you might choose a mantra to do, and that's what those are. They're not the sort of words in themselves. They're a sort of evocation of a particular quality using the symbol of sound. But anyway, I'll leave that up to you. But there might be something that you sort of know of that puts you in touch with a higher state of being. Could be a poem, could be a prayer, could be an image. So I'm aware that it's 1 o'clock. I was going to do a little kind of like talking to each other about what we're going to do, but if you want to hang around, you can kind of talk about that. Obviously, I want to release you so that you can go and have your lunch. But keep that in mind. Keep those forces in mind, and particularly make sure you're absolutely sure, if you haven't already, sign up for the meditation challenge, because then you'll get these emails. And just keep coming back, and you can talk about all those things, how you're setting up your practice, what time, what's getting in your way, what conditions do you need to remind yourself of this challenge. But the main thing is that good luck, and I hope it goes really well. And it will. It's guaranteed. Just do it.